Hello and welcome back to Chaotic and Witchy. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel. Thank you to everybody who has left a comment, a like, or subscribed to this channel. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you for all of your support. Today we're going to be taking a look at what the person that you have in your mind is saying about you, what they're thinking about you, just overall what is going on inside of their heads, what they're saying out loud to other people, what they're ruminating or fixating on about you, and anything else that the cards might have a little bit of insight on. So meditate on a pile, make your selection, and I will see you in just a little bit. Hello pile one, and welcome to your reading. So pile one, the person that you have in your mind, I don't know exactly who you have in your mind, but it does seem to me that this person is looking to have a new beginning with you. So the person that you have inside of your mind sees you as somebody that things went wrong in this connection or with your relationship with this person. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but we do have the Lovers card present here. So already there's a suggestion here that this could be a romantic relationship, or at least a relationship that the person that you have in your mind is viewing as a romantic relationship to some extent. So at the very center of this reading, you have the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords in its standard form is all about breakthroughs. It's all about mental clarity, seeing things for what they are, having this incredible sense and a reinvigoration of new ideas, of seeing things in a new light, in a clearer, more determined light. But the other thing the Ace of Swords represents in a connection is having a connection with somebody who has very similar interests and values as you do, thinks of things the same way. There's a lot of commonalities between you and this person, a lot of things that you likely can see eye to eye on. And one of the things that they're saying about you is that they very much enjoy this part of your personality, the fact that you and this person can very much connect on various elements of your life. You can have lots of very deep and complex, intelligent discussions, and it's very likely that this is something that they very much enjoy about you and talk about a lot. The fact that you two have this very intense connection and have a bond over several areas of your life, several interests that you two connect on. And also you have the Ace of Wands here as well. So you have two beginning cards in a row, which is what makes me think that this person wants a new beginning with you. I don't think that this is a connection that is brand new, or they're desiring a beginning with you overall. It does seem like there's some history here, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But with this Ace of Wands card, it's also very apparent that you are a bit of an atypical person to this person. So this is not a connection that they typically have had before. You are not an individual with whom they would necessarily immediately have a connection or a draw towards. So you are a bit of a new and exciting experience to them overall, in the sense of the fact that you're not a standard person that they would be drawn towards. You're not somebody they would typically seek out in a room, but they're very much excited by the fact that you are a little bit different. There is something about you that you have the same interests and values overall, but in terms of who you are innately as a person, you do differ from them, or differ from their type. If this is a romantic connection, you're not their standard type of person to whom they would be drawn to. So that is what the Ace of Wands represents. And overall, you do have two beginning cards in a row, and they are followed, of course, by the Lovers card, which makes me think that this is a bit of a romantic connection to you, or you are thinking about a person who at least sees you romantically, whether you're aware of it or not. And what the Lovers card represents, of course, is this romance, attraction, and excitement. It's something that is very much comes from a very romantic place, comes from a very loving place, but it also indicates compatibility. So if this is a friendship connection or a partnership of some kind that's not romantic, it does show a very great degree of compatibility. You are very compatible as a pair, and it's very likely because it is that you can see eye to eye on various interests and subjects and values. You connect in that way that is very innate. But there is the Lovers card present here, so it does indicate to me that they are also talking about the fact that they may be attracted to you. They may have a pull towards you that is romantic or romantically inclined, and they may be thinking or speaking about that to others, that they are seeing you as a romantic figure in some way, shape, or form. But overall, it does indicate to me a great attraction and a great compatibility, and it doesn't have to be romantic if the person who you're thinking about isn't a romantic counterpart or interest, but nevertheless, it does symbolize to me that they are seeing you in a bit of a romantic light, or at least as somebody who's very, very much connected to them in some way, or compatible with them in a very important, valuable way. And the other thing you have here is the Knight of Pentacles. And then love seeing the Knight of Pentacles because to me it indicates that they're very much not seeking to rush things, that they want to see things slowly and they want to approach you with caution and care and tenderness, I'm hearing. They don't really want to rush in and steamroll you. They don't want to come in and very much kind of bulldoze you or grab your attention in a very dramatic kind of way. They want to build things slowly and carefully. And again, I do think that this is a bit of a comeback for them. If they are discussing you or talking about you, it is because that things have occurred in the past and they haven't gone as they should have. And they're looking to find a brand new experience with you. They want a new beginning with you overall, pile one. But this time around, they're definitely approaching it with caution and care, and they're not trying to run into the situation or kind of seize the situation without very much planning. So they are definitely making plans. They're taking things carefully. They're going to approach you more cautiously. And I think that is what is going on in their mind currently. And the reason, again, I did indicate to you that it does appear to me that this is a connection that you have previously had with this person, and they are seeking a new beginning with you. They're trying to have a new beginning with you, a rejuvenation of something that had transpired with you previously. Perhaps they had tried to connect with you and they were unsuccessful. Perhaps there was some sort of fallout, but ultimately I think someone in this connection had to withdraw or escape in some way, shape, or form, because you do have the Eight of Cups here. And the Eight of Cups is all about escapism, withdrawal, walking away from something and taking a step back and entering into a period of recuperation and rejuvenation and meditation and spending a lot more time within yourself instead of in this situation with this person. So it does seem like you or they had to take a step back, as this is something that they're talking about you in relation to you. I think that likely it's you who had to take a step back. Perhaps they did or said something that was, it's something that rubbed you the wrong way or something that made you retreat. And again, I always say this with a caveat of if somebody's treating you poorly, if somebody's mean or ruthless or unkind, you have absolutely no need to look back at things nostalgically. You have no reason to go back to a person who mistreats you. So if you had to escape or walk away for a very valid reason, it doesn't really matter what they're saying. It doesn't really matter what they're doing. You have a right to take a step back and remove yourself from that situation. But if this is something that you're willing to forgive, or if this is something that you feel is something that you can work on and move past, then that is your choice to make. But I always want to be careful and cautious to ensure that no matter what I am saying, or no matter what anybody on YouTube or anywhere else says, there is no reason or excuse or justification for certain behaviors that are beyond forgiving. So if anybody is ever cruel and for that reason you had to take a step back, it doesn't really matter what they say to try to make up for it. You have a right to protect yourself against those kinds of people. So I always want to have that caveat and that mention, so I'm not just, trying to justify somebody else's wrongdoing or ill thought action. So that is what I have to say as an aside. But it does look to me that overall somebody in this connection had to take a step back and withdraw, especially with this Death card, which represents the end of things, the endings of certain things, so that new things can come in and take their place. So again, overall, I think that this is somebody with whom you did have a history with whom you did have some kind of connection with. And overall, I do think that you had a really lovely one. You did unite and bond on various subjects and topics and interests, but it came to an end. So there's a transformation happening here, which would explain to me the presence of 2 Ace cards that are followed by that Lover's card. I do think they want a brand new beginning with you, and they want to connect with you again, whether it is romantically or just as a friend. If it's a compatibility that comes from a place of friendship, they're very much seeking to have that beginning with you, and they're very much discussing that with others, or definitely keeping that within themselves, but probably both. They're likely confiding in friends and in family and trying to figure out how to repair this, because it does seem to me with this regeneration card, along with the Death card, is that they are seeking a revival to whatever it is that they've lost, to whatever it is that occurred between you two, a conflict or a lack of understanding, or whatever it is that caused you to take a step back, perhaps just poor timing. Maybe there were things going on in their life and in your life, and just things didn't happen as they likely wanted them to, but they are seeking a regeneration of whatever it is, especially with the Death card and the regeneration card. I think that very much affirms to me that they're trying to come back in some shape or form, but currently they're taking the role of an observer. You have the Observer card, so it's very likely that this person is watching you from afar. They may be watching you on social media. They may have other connections to you, but they're definitely keeping tabs on you. If you have public social media profiles, they're watching them, they're keeping an eye on you, and they're observing you from afar. And I guess just trying, with that Knight of Pentacles energy, just trying to really ensure that the timing is right, and that when they do approach you, it's in the right moment, under the right circumstances, and they're carefully and cautiously planning with this Observer card. So I do get a very strong sense that right now, it's likely that they're not actively reaching out to you, but kind of looking at you from the sidelines. And you likely know exactly who this is, and you should know that it does seem that they're keeping an eye on your social media. They're keeping an eye on the updates that people have about you. If they are talking about you, they're also likely looking to see what's going on in your life. They're inquiring, they're inquisitorial, they want to know how you're doing, they want to know if there's any new events or updates about you. And the other thing is you do have the Trust card here. So that does indicate to me that likely this is somebody that you trust or you have trusted in the past. Again, this speaks to me that there's a bit of intimacy involved here. There's definitely a bit of history here. They do feel like they can trust you. They do think that of you as a reliable and trustworthy, honorable person. So you do have the Trust card here. And overall, I think that's what they're saying about you. They do very much value your integrity, is what I'm hearing. They find you somebody who has a lot of integrity, trustworthiness, and reliance. So it is very likely that, again, to them, you're very valuable. And whatever it is that made them take a step back is probably what is causing them to now try to re-enter your life cautiously and mindfully instead of impulsively and without thought and without caution. So they are very much trying to approach things from a mature perspective. There's a lot of maturity in these cards, a lot of growth in these cards that very much indicates to me that this is more of a sophisticated approach. You don't see any of the traditional cards that tend to spell chaos or conflict or confusion, like the Fool, which can be a little bit more impulsive and throw caution to the wind. So there's a lot of calculation that's happening here again, which indicates to me a lot of maturity in their approach moving forward. And then lastly, the only indication that I have, the only sort of hint that I have as to what happened to cause your fallout is this card which says, I listen to opposing opinions. So I think that likely what happened is perhaps there was something, although you are compatible in so many different ways, it's likely that you had something that you disagreed on or had an opposition on. There was something that did not align for you at the time. And I think that they see you as somebody who's usually very careful and tends to listen and appreciate opposing opinions, but it could also be that this is something that you disagreed on that just simply couldn't be overcome at the time, and one of you had to take a step back, or both of you had to take a step back in this connection to reevaluate what's valuable, what's important to you, and try to figure things out. But again, there are a lot of aces here that do indicate to me that a new beginning is on the horizon, or at the very least that they're very much interested in a new beginning with you, and it's up to you what you decide to do with that. And whatever it is that occurred, that's up to you to decide whether that's something that you can work through and move forward from. And once again, that's up to you to do, and based on your boundaries and based on your experience. And you are by no means entitled to take back anybody who is hurtful, no matter what their justifications for it may be. So that's what I have for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again soon. Hello and welcome to your reading, Pile 2. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And let's have a look at what the person that you have in mind is thinking about you, saying about you, what's going on with them. So first and foremost, you have the Three of Pentacles. And what the Three of Pentacles indicates to me is that there's a very great possibility that this is a work-related connection, a connection wherein you may be studying or learning or working together in some capacity, because the Three of Pentacles indicates teamwork and collaboration and learning and growth and development. And in particular, in this card, there's also the presence of a mentor-like figure, and that does indicate to me that perhaps this person is in some capacity a mentor to you, or that you certainly work or collaborate with them in some degree. And the other thing that this could also indicate is that they're very much interested in collaborating or working with you. So it's very likely that if you're not in a work-related connection, they are interested in working with you in some capacity, or if you are at work or at school, they're interested in taking on a project or an endeavor with you. So they are very much interested in working with you or connecting with you in some way. They want to have more time with you is what I'm hearing. They want to have more opportunities to be with you one-on-one. And the other thing about you is you have the Justice card right in the center of this reading. And to me, what the Justice card indicates is that you are somebody who is not inclined in taking part in situations that are corrupt or deceitful, that you have a very high degree of integrity and honor to you, or at least that's how they see you. That's what they say about you, that you're somebody who's very honorable, hardworking, dedicated, and you value equality. So it could be that perhaps you know this person from a volunteer or social justice group that you're part of, or a community where there is an inclination to social justice or volunteer work or fighting for one cause, or just alternatively that they just see you as somebody who has those qualities, those passions, those values, where you are somebody who's very much in a very social justice minded capacity, or just all about integrity, equality, and the rights of others. So that's something that they very much value about you. Perhaps you've had discussions about the things that you value, or you're in some kind of group or community where those things are important or relevant or part of your day-to-day. The other thing is you have the Queen of Swords, which kind of affirms that the Queen of Swords is very honorable, is very level-headed, and very straightforward. But the other thing about the Queen of Swords, whenever I see her, I get the sense of somebody who's very hard to read. As you can see in this card, she's kind of turned to her side. So there's a part of her that's eclipsed. There's a facet of her. She's not facing you forward. You can't see her entire face. There is a part of her that's hidden and eclipsed. So I think the other thing about this card is they find you a little bit hard to read. They can't really put a finger on you. They can't really place you. And there's a bit of a mystery to you. So while there are qualities about you that they think that they know, such as the fact that you're honorable and somebody who can be trusted and relied on, there's also facets of your personality that they can't quite put a finger on. There is something about you that's a little bit shrouded and hidden, and they find that mystery very alluring, very interesting, and very exciting as well. But overall, you do seem to embody the qualities of the Queen of Swords. So you do have this knowledgeable and supportive personality. You're somebody who's likely someone they come to for help and advice on occasion, or they do see you as somebody who's very knowledgeable and resourceful in that sense, especially if you are a part of the same work environment or you do study together. So they do see you as somebody who's very, very smart. And sophisticated in that regard, but also they do think that you're a little bit mysterious. You hold your emotions to your chest. You're a little bit guarded, and they do find that quite interesting. So it may be that they haven't really gotten to know you all that well yet. But then there's also a lot of painful energy here as well. You do have the Eight of Swords, which just indicates a negative thoughts and beliefs, some self-imposed restrictions, isolation. You have the Four of Swords, which indicates the need to recuperate, meditate, retreat, deal with pain and isolation, and really work through your emotions and what's been going on with you. And then finally, you have the Six of Swords, which means leaving something for brighter, better horizons, for more calm waters, transitioning from a bad place to a more positive place. So it's very interesting because this card always makes me think of somebody who may have had to take their family from a very negative place. So it could be that you have had a previous relationship with this person. You may have even been married, and you may have had to take your children away from a negative place, a negative experience, to better waters. Or at the very least, this is a character about you that they do know, that you've had to leave more troubled times for better times. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have a family to take care of. Overall, it just seems to me that they know that you've had to move away from more harder, difficult, and tempestuous times for better times. So it does seem that they are aware of some painful, of a painful escape that you've had to make, or just a painful transition that you've had to make, so that you can make a better life for yourself. And that is also something that they likely talk about or think about a lot. The fact that you have this bravery and courage and persistence and just overall resilience in order to make a very difficult, challenging move or transition. So it could be something that they're aware of. But overall, these cards do indicate to me that you are somebody who has had to make a journey of some kind. You've had to move away from difficult times in order to seek better times, happier times for yourself. And if this happened with a person that you're thinking of, they're aware of it. They know that you've had to walk away from them for a valid reason, for a reason where you had to, maybe leave a situation with them that wasn't working in order to protect yourself. And that is something that they're aware of. But they also see you as somebody who is very forgiving with this I am forgiving card. So it's very likely that if this is something that had to transpire between the two of you, they're hoping that you might forgive them. And again, I always like to caution my viewers that if this is a situation you had to leave because they were causing you pain, or they were taking advantage of you, or there was something about them that just really wasn't making you happy, that was hurting you, you have no reason, you're not obligated to forgive. You have no reason to forgive. There's no need for you to necessarily re-enter a situation that was painful. So I do say that with caution. So just because they may see you as somebody who's forgiving, that could also be a negative thing. They may just simply think that they can take advantage of your kindness, of your forgiveness, of your ability to be compassionate. So, and fair with that Justice card. So they may be taking advantage of this, but overall they do see you as somebody who's very forgiving, and that is something that they're thinking of. But at the end of the day, whatever you had to walk away from, whatever it is that was painful for you, was because you had to find your own inner peace. You had to find your own refuge, your sanctuary, your space where you can be whole and recover and recuperate for whatever pain you had to leave behind. So they do see you, and they talk about the fact that you had to seek out a shelter or a space for yourself to be at peace and calm. And so it does seem that this person could be the person you had to walk away from because they were causing you pain, or this is an element of your personality or your life or your history that they're aware of. So they are aware of you having to perhaps take a step back And perhaps that is something that they're also dealing with you, just because you may have had tumultuous aspects to your life. You may have had a difficult situation you had to leave behind, or something that you had to work very hard on in order to get inner peace. This could be just a history of pain you've been through, and now you're just dealing with the after effects of that pain, of that struggle that you've faced. And for that reason, perhaps you are more guarded. There is a lot of swords energy here. There's a lot of boundaries that you've put up around yourself in order to protect yourself. So it could be that this person is thinking about that, about how guarded you are because of the pain you have faced in your life, because of the struggles you have had. And for that reason, you may be a little bit more cautious, especially with that Queen of Swords that doesn't show her full face, that hides parts of herself. Perhaps that's something that they're thinking about. Maybe they're thinking about the fact that you have had these difficulties and challenges in your life, and they're trying to figure you out and trying to figure out why you behave in a certain way. And I think that that's the case for some of you, because you also have this why card. The person that you are thinking of is also questioning some of your behaviors, your motives, your motivations as to some of the decisions you have made, perhaps in this relationship, in this connection. But overall, they are thinking why. They're asking themselves why and trying to figure things out. So it may be that this person is not the person who has caused you pain and harm and issues with your life that you had to walk away from, but perhaps you have remnants of that past, of that history, that then bleeds over into your day-to-day and to your connections now. And it makes people around you question some of your behaviors, question why you're a little bit more guarded, a little bit more mysterious. You keep your emotions close to your chest, and they're asking themselves why, and they're thinking about this. And I think some of the answers that they're coming up with, or at the very least discussing with others, and maybe others are telling them about this part of your history and trying to explain to them why it is that you are a certain way, and maybe divulging to them that you have some pain that you had to break away from and recover from. But they're definitely asking why. So it's very likely that in their conversations that they're having about you, that is part of what they're questioning. They're questioning your behavior towards them, where it's coming from, and some of the origins of that, so that they could better understand more compassionately and more fairly as to why it is that you may be making certain decisions or acting in a certain way, maybe being a little bit more cautious around them. But there's also the TikTok card present here, and it makes me think that something about this connection has a time limited element to it. There is something about time here. Maybe they feel like they're running out of time in repairing what they broke. They're running out of time in fixing something that they may have done, and you're drifting away from them. You're moving away from them, especially with that Six of Swords card. Perhaps you're drifting away from them in some way, shape, and form, and they're trying to piece things together. They're trying to understand why it is that you're pulling away. And they think that time is of the essence. They think that you're going to be gone soon. So that is something that's also probably on top of their mind. They do feel like something about you is time sensitive. There is an element here that they're thinking about, that they may not have sufficient time to make reprimands, to seek your forgiveness if that is necessary, or they're feeling that they're running out of time. Maybe it is because you're building up defenses and boundaries. Maybe it is because you're feeling a little bit more cautious and guarded around them. They're thinking that there may not be enough time, which is why they're so frantically trying to ask why. They're questioning why. They're questioning the situation. They're asking people about you, trying to understand what it is that's going on in your life, why you may be acting or reacting to a certain situation in a certain manner. But that is what I have for you, Pile 2. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like this reading. And I hope to see you again very soon. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. So we're going to have a look at what the person you have currently in mind is saying or thinking about you, And to start off, I'm immediately drawn to the Seven of Cups right at the center of this reading. And what the Seven of Cups represents is somebody who has a lot of options, a lot of opportunities in front of them. Not every opportunity in front of them is going to have a very wonderful, pleasant result. As you can see, the cups are filled with different objects and different, different suggestions. So while there's a rose and a heart, there's also a snake, there's also a tornado, one of the cups. So what I'm thinking that this person is saying about you is you're somebody who has a lot of options and opportunities in front of them. So if this is a romantic connection, one of the things that this person is fixated on is just how many options you have. This could be suitors, for example, people who are interested in you or that you may be interested in. And I do think they may be a little bit sour about some of the options that you have, because I do think that they're also talking a lot about, well, yeah, there's this so-and-so and they are interested in this person, but they have this characteristic about them that's not that great. So I feel like they're a little sour about some of the options you might have. There may be a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of intimidation there as well. But ultimately, the other thing that this card represents is that they're also thinking about you and they're fantasizing about you. And there's a lot of wishful thinking on their end going on, a lot of imagining what things could be like between the two of you. So there's a lot of fantastical thinking. There's a lot of fantasy, and also just the fact that they do see you as someone who has a lot of options and opportunities. You're quite desirable is what I'm hearing. You're not somebody who is that easily blends into the background. So you do stand out for this person and for other people as well. So that is one of the things that I'm seeing here with the Seven of Cups. And the other thing that I'm seeing here is overall and overwhelmingly, this person does see you as a bit of a prize. Like I said, with that Seven of Cups, that fantastical thinking, that desire, that imagination that they're kind of going through. They're thinking of scenarios that you two could be in, opportunities where you two can meet, or your roads might cross and you might have an opportunity to chat or have an interaction with them. So they are fantasizing about that. But you also have the Empress at the center here, and the Empress is a gorgeous card. And I really do love seeing the Empress, because whenever I have the Empress in a position or in a reading where it comes to either describing who a person is or who a person is to somebody else, this immediately strikes me as a very deep, intimate attraction. The Empress is just this incredibly beautiful, robust, complex, and enticing figure. She is nurturing, compassionate, powerful, resilient, just a very, very endearing and prominent and confident figure, somebody who's very multifaceted, but overall just a very desirable person. And that is what they're talking about or thinking about, just how complex and beautiful and commanding your presence is, just a presence that captures the whole room. The Empress very much, to me at least, represents that in the tarot. So I do think that that's how they see you, and I get affirmation with that when I see the Yang card. So the Yang card, of course, is accompanied by the Yin traditionally. So I do think that to this person, you represent the other half, a very compatible piece to their own personality. So it's very likely that you two have a lot of interests that are shared, a lot of common elements to your personality. There's a lot that you two can talk about and share. So they do feel a very strong and striking compatibility or connection with you in that regard. Again, it could be romantic, or it could be in a creative sense. It could be that they really desire to work with you in some capacity, or it could just very well be an attraction where they see you as their compatible Yang. And I do think that that is the case here. So I do think that, and especially seeing all of this fiery energy represented on this card here. So again, that does tend to lean more on the passionate romantic side of things instead of a more platonic or business-like relationship. So I do think that they do see you as somebody who's very compatible and very suitable to their own interests. But I do think that overall here, there is a desire to take things a little bit slower and a little bit more calculated with this Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is a bit of a slow-moving energy. It is a very contemplative energy, a reserved energy, one that tends to plan and think of things ahead of time. There's a lot of forethought given to the actions that follow in a thought or an idea. So with the Knight of Pentacles here, I do think that there's a little bit of a slow movement here. There's a lot of hard work that goes in before a step is taken, a lot of persistence and diligence. So I do think that if this person is interested in you romantically, this is going to take a lot of time to build up or to progress. And they're likely going to be very calculating in the steps that they take towards you or how they approach you ultimately with this Knight of Pentacles energy. And the other thing is, again, I had indicated to you that they do see you as a compatible figure, as somebody who's very much fitting to them and their personality and their lifestyle and their interests and their thoughts. But the other thing is that they do see you as somebody who's very confident and very bold. And like I said, with that Empress energy, that's not a surprise. You have the Six of Wands here. And the Six of Wands is all about victory, stamina, endurance, confidence, and courage. And I do have the Courage card here as well. So again, I do think that they see you as somebody who is very, very impressive. Somebody who is very, very strong and resilient and, you know, just very capable and very prominent. So I do think that they admire you a lot. They may not express this to you, but this is certainly an internal dialogue and something that they say about you to other people. So they are saying that there are qualities about you that are very enduring, courageous, and just very impressive and admirable. So that is something that is coming through as well here. So with that Courage card and the Six of Wands, I do think that you're someone who, again, is a leader, is someone that they find incredibly just admirable. And I'm hearing that they can't really get you out of their mind. They do think about you a lot as well. And the Six of Wands also represents victory and success and just this ecstatic celebration of hard work and hard effort. So I do think the other thing about you is that they may see you as a bit of a prize to be won. Something, and again, that could explain why there's the Pentacles energy here, the slow moving, calculating energy. Because if you see somebody as something that is worth it, just working hard and persisting and putting in the effort to gain or to get access to or a moment with, this is going to be something that's a little bit more slow moving. There's going to be a lot of effort put in. And I do think with the Six of Wands, if they do see you as a prize or something worth having as part of their life, they're going to put in that hard work. They're going to ensure that they match what you resemble to them, that they meet you with the same integrity and resilience and confidence and enduring energy as you meet them or their... Oops, sorry, I'm having a hard time focusing. Where are we going here? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. But what I meant to say is that, yes, so they do want to match your energy. They do want to meet you from the same perspective as you have met them, or from the perspective that, I guess, when you're approaching somebody of your caliber, they want to ensure that what they're bringing forward matches that as well, if that makes sense. They don't want to be impulsive and callous and hasty. They do want to match that energy that you put forth. And I do think that you're somebody that they view in high regard as well, with the Six of Wands, with having this champion sat on top of her white horse. So I do think that that's how they view as well. But at the end of the day, there is some painful energy here as well. You do have the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords does indicate a degree of heartbreak or pain. So there may be something in this connection where they feel that there was a degree of pain that they had to endure, a degree of heartache or loss. So perhaps there's somebody else in your life currently and they feel like they cannot get to you, or they cannot approach you, or there's somebody in their life and the same applies, that they don't think that they can approach you, or that the timing isn't right. So I do think that there is also some painful energy, especially with this Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords, again, represents a lot of grief, a lot of suffering, a lot of dismay, disappointment, heartache. So you do have the Three of Swords and the Nine of Swords. So they may be also feeling a certain way. There may be something about your connection or about your relationship or who you are to one another where there are some barriers, some difficult moments, some pain involved there as well. And if they, I mean, again, if they do see you as somebody who they want to have in their life, as somebody who they want to fight for, perhaps there are obstacles to overcome, especially with the Six of Wands, which is all about just fighting a battle and coming out of the other side victorious. So there could be some obstacles between you and them that is causing them a little bit of pain, a lot of sadness and heartbreak. And you may be feeling it too. This could be something that's not just unique to them, but this is something that they are talking about to other people. And I get the confirmation here that there is a bit of a rift here, or a bit of I don't want to say an imbalance, but there's definitely something here that's a bit of an obstacle, a bit of an interference with your connection, because you do have the Between Two Worlds card here. So I do feel like when it comes to the two of you, again, there's a lot of mirror energy here. There's this Between Two Worlds card. There's the yin and the yang feature here as well, where there's some mirroring going on. But I feel like what the Between Two Worlds card symbolizes is exactly what I've been mentioning here with you, is this feeling that you are both in one place and another, and you're kind of stuck between two realities. And I feel like when it comes to this person, it could be that they're feeling that they're split down the middle, that they're both in your life and outside of it, that they're both in the state that they want to be in relation to you and outside of this state. So it could be that perhaps right now you're in an in-between state with this person. You're not really where they want to be in relation to you, and you are not there in relation to them how you may wish to be in relation to them. So you are stuck in between two realities with this person, and I think they're feeling it, and that could be the source of some of the pain, that Swords energy, the Nine of Swords and the Three of Swords that you're seeing, that sort of suffering and moping and just sad, heavy energy that they're feeling about you. And that is something that they're talking about as well. It could be that they're telling people, well, I don't know what's going on with them, I haven't heard from them, and they're kind of trying to inquire into what's going on in your life. Perhaps you're not in their life as much as they want to be, or you may want them to be. But overall, it does seem that there's quite a rift here. There's a bit of an imbalance between where you are ordinarily, or where they want to be with you, and where you are in fact currently. But overall, they do have a lot of wonderful things to say about you. There's not a lot of negativity that is being said. They're not, they're not saying bad things about you. They're not trying to bring you down or say negative things about you. It does seem to, the Empress card and the Six of Wands card does seem to indicate to me that they speak of you fondly, especially with that Yang card, that they see you almost as a part of them, or as a part of a reflection of who they are as well. So I don't think there's a lot of negativity going on behind your back. And what confirms that for me is this I communicate with compassion card. So I do think they have a lot of kind things to say about you, and I do think that overall they do see you as somebody who's very compassionate, and this really works well with that Empress card as well. And I do think that overall the things that they have to say about you are positive, and they do see you as a very compassionate person. And it's also a beautiful card. This really also makes me think of the Empress as well, just the way that she's depicted. It's very pretty. It's a very pretty card, and it does go well with the Empress. So I do think that, again, they see you as somebody who does inhabit this Empress energy that is very desirable, beautiful, nurturing, compassionate. And I think that they're saying these things about you, whether they are currently with you or not, whether they're able to be around you or not, because it does seem that there's something about you that is causing them a bit of heartbreak, a little bit of pain and suffering that they're dealing with as well, and that they're talking about to other people. So that's what I have for you, Pile 3. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if this reading resonated, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Hello and welcome to your reading, Pile 4. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'm going to dive right into it. So what we're looking at today is what the person that you're currently thinking of is saying or thinking or feeling about you, or whatever the cards have to let us know what's going on with this person, what's going on in their mind and what they are saying about you. So at the very center of this reading, you have the Magician. And I love seeing the Magician because it very much indicates to me that there's a bit of magic here. There's a bit of charm about you, that they're very much charmed by you. And it could be that they see you as, I'm hearing almost like as a bit siren-like, as a bit magical. They're kind of, you know when you meet people and you're so immediately taken into them that you feel like you kind of make a joke like they put a spell on me? Well, that's what I'm hearing. I feel like this person is feeling as though they're spellbound in a way, in a sense, because they are very much swept off their feet. This is a whirlwind card. This is about meeting somebody who's very, very charismatic and charming and just enticing, and they draw you in. And it's, again, like this uncontrollable attraction or connection to someone that they feel like they're taken aback by it. So they very much think of you as somebody who's very impressive, authoritative, and charming and charismatic. So you could have a very strong wit about you. You could have a very just commanding energy that pulls people in. You have a very great pull to you, and that is what they're saying about you. They do find you very alluring in that sense. And the other thing here is you have the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups represents this very warm, feminine, inviting energy, this kindness and sensitivity and nurturing. The Queen of Cups is very emotionally stable, very thoughtful and mindful with their emotions and how they direct it. But again, the Queen of Cups is water, and water can be tempestuous. There's elements of storminess to water energy. So I don't want to say the Queen of Cups is all rainbows and sunshine and just butterflies and just incredible things. No, the Queen of Cups is nurturing, is welcoming. Water is the essential element of our entire existence, of our planet's existence. But at the same time, water is tempestuous. There are storminess. There's qualities to water that make it a little bit unpredictable, make it just incredibly subject to change. And I do think that that's also a quality about you that they've taken in and they talk about a lot. They do find that you have these wonderful qualities, but overall, you're not just, someone that's just fluffy and warm and welcoming. No, the Queen of Cups does have a tempestuous side as well, a very exciting sense of unpredictability. So I do think that this represents both that they very much admire your compassion, your empathy, your kindness, but also just that unpredictableness to you. So I do think the Queen of Cups carries with her also a bit of mystery, unpredictability, and that is something that they're talking about as well, that element to you, that characteristic. And ultimately here, you do have the Two of Cups, which does indicate to me either a very strong compatibility or the possibility that this person sees you as a potential romantic connection, as a potential romantic interest. And it's also interesting to see that she's standing there in water like the Queen of Cups. She's got her feet in water, which I love because it does indicate to me this mirroring, that they do see you as this elemental water energy, but also as someone that they have this connection and attraction to. So I do think that there is a pull here. They do think about you romantically, possibly, or at the very least, they think about you as a very strong, compatible individual, as somebody that they likely have a lot in common with and they are drawn to. So there is that element here as well. But you also have the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands is also very interesting to see here because the Queen of Wands is a very confident, powerful energy. She's somebody who is very, very much directed and confident and stable and reassuring. And it also indicates quite a lot of optimism that they feel towards this connection. If you can see, there's a lot of yellow colors, a lot of happy colors, just warm colors. And I do think that they see you optimistically. I'm hearing that when they see you, when they're around you, they can't help but smile. So you might see that this person has this they can't kind of control the expressions on their face, and they may blush or they might just smile just uncontrollably, even when they may not want to, even though when they're having a bad day. I feel like they kind of light up around you like these sunflowers. The sunflowers, of course, always face the sun, and they always turn their heads towards where the sun is. So I think that one of the other things about this connection is you may find them looking at you when they don't think you're looking or really aware of it, because they're always trying to kind of find you and face you in a way. But there is a lot of optimism that they feel about you, and especially with how the Queen of Wands is depicted here, I do think that you may be somebody who maybe is a little bit younger than they are, or slightly younger than they are, but they do see you as a bit more youthful and as a little bit more free-spirited, a little bit more light-hearted in a sense. But there is a lot of joy and happiness and optimism that they feel towards you as well. And again, overall, the Queen of Wands is a very, very powerful, confident, secure, stable energy as well. So that is another way that they're seeing you. And the other thing that you have here as well is the Six of Cups. Oh my gosh, sorry, the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups indicates to me there's quite a lot of nostalgia going on here. There's quite a lot of thinking about you, reveling in memories of you. So it could be that maybe you haven't spoken in a long time, and they're kind of going through memories of you, or how they last saw you, or how they last remember seeing you. You may not have, you likely may not have seen this person face to face in quite some time, but they're thinking about you, and they're thinking about the memories that you have together, or some of the moments that you've shared together in a very nostalgic way. Especially if you can see here, this knight is looking at this siren, this mermaid, and she looks like very fantastical, almost like she's an apparition, and he's kind of fantasizing about her, thinking about her, and really kind of, and I love how it's depicted in this card, because sometimes it can indicate looking back at childhood memories, but I think here it's very clear that there's just something about you that they're remembering, that they're focusing on, and they're likely talking about it with others. And the other thing you have here is the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands again is a very stable, celebratory energy. It usually signifies really big moments in our lives, moments where we come together and we celebrate. So marriages, proposals, engagements, completions of difficult tasks, coming to the end of something. So I feel like one of the other things that they're thinking about is possibly seeing you again in a celebratory moment. Maybe there's going to be a time when you come together to finally celebrate something. Maybe it's the end of this whole worldwide crisis that we have been in, and they want to really see you again and celebrate the end of that. So maybe that's the obstacle that's kind of coming in between you two. You haven't seen each other because of this obstacle, but they're also thinking about you in this very celebratory way. They're trying to think about, they really want to have a moment with you where things are a little bit more lighthearted and fun and festive, and they may want to see you again in person in a celebratory sense. And I think that, quite frankly, seeing you remotely isn't enough, and they may not even have an opportunity to do that, but they are looking forward to having a bit of fun and kicking back and having fun with you. And that's something else that they're talking about. And the other thing, and why I'm thinking that maybe you are a little bit younger than they are, or they may have a position, maybe they're in a position of authority over you, or they're a bit more advanced than you are. If this is a workplace connection or an academic connection, they may just be a little bit more advanced than you are in the setting that you're in. Maybe there doesn't have to be in a position of authority, but there is this sense of protection about you, that they want to protect you because they have the protection card here. So they may be thinking about you and thinking about protecting you, or offering you some kind of support. Maybe you've been going through something and they're not able to be there for you, and they're thinking about protecting you in some way, shape, or form. And they are trying to, they're trying to be there for you, and they're trying to offer you that as well. And that's something else that they're talking about with others about you, that there is this need, that they feel a need to protect you and to maybe guide you in something. But then also one of the things that's coming through here is this co-create card. I think that they are also fantasizing about creating something with you, about building something with you. So this could be a connection that is creative. This could be a workplace connection, an academic connection, where you two have an opportunity to work on something together. And I think that's something else that they're very much talking about. They want to be able to create something with you and do something with you together. And they are discussing that with others as well, about maybe putting in work on a project, putting in work on some sort of workplace group or community, or bringing something together with you with this co-create card. So that's also something that's on top of their minds. And the other thing about you, tying back to that Queen of Cups, that compassionate energy, you also have the I honor animals with reverence card here. So I'm thinking perhaps that you two have this as a mutual feature. Perhaps you two fight for animal rights. Perhaps you two have, you know, similar dietary habits. If you are somebody who doesn't eat meat or animals, or, you know, takes a very strong stance for animal welfare and protection, I think that this is something that you have in common, or at least something that they very much admire about you. They very much admire your ability to honor animals with reverence, and this could be something that they think about as well, or something that you may have inspired them to do as well. If this is something that you tremendously value, this is something else that they talk about. They very much admire that fact about you, and they do talk about it with other people as well. And lastly, just kind of wrapping all of this up and going back to that Magician card, which again I think can symbolize somebody who's so charming and breathtaking and just exciting and exhilarating, because you do have this breathe card here. And I do think that, you know, you may take their breath away. Again, I do get the strong sense that whoever this person is, they may not be able to camouflage their feelings about you, and that you do take their breath away in a sense. And I think that whenever you are around them, they can't really cover up their feelings for you, or can't cover up their emotions around you. I do think that this is somebody who, when you're around them, may turn a little bit flushed, may smile, whether or not they can control it. They may want to have a serious face or a serious tone, but I feel like you likely make them laugh a lot, or you really uplift their spirits. Again, with that Queen of Wands, all of that joyous yellow, all of that colorful energy, I think that you do take their breath away. And I don't think that they can necessarily control how they come across when they are in your presence. And again, there's a lot of the same sort of yellow, greens, just really happy, joyous, creative colors. So that is what I have for you, Pile 4. I do think that this person thinks fondly of you. I do think that this person really is thinking about you currently. They are revisiting memories of you. They are looking forward to a moment of celebration with you, a moment where you may come together and celebrate and have fun again. And they do think of you fondly. They do think that you're somebody who brings them a lot of happiness and joy into their life. And again, with that Two of Cups energy, it could signify a more permanent, lasting romantic connection that they're interested in with you. Or it can just signify very strong compatibility, so much so that they do want to have an opportunity to create something with you. They do want to take on a project with you, and they want to work on something with you, Pile 4. So that is what I have for you. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this reading, and I hope to see you again very, very soon.